Jon Jones has shared a thoughtful message for Khamzat and Ilya after their recent losses, offering advice that comes from years of experience at the highest level of MMA. Even though Jon has never truly experienced a legitimate defeat inside the Octagon, he believes the way fighters respond to setbacks defines their future. He praised Ilya for staying humble, being honest with himself, and surrounding himself with a strong team. According to Jon, that combination of faith, discipline, and self-awareness is exactly what helps champions bounce back. He explained that fighters who make excuses often struggle to recover, but those who admit they could have performed better put themselves in the best position for improvement. Jon also spoke about Khamzat, admitting it was tough watching him lose because he has always been such a dominant force. He pointed out that being forced onto his back seemed to completely change the momentum of the fight. Since Khamzat rarely finds himself in that position, Jon believes it affected his confidence more than anything else. His advice was simple: spend more time training from bad positions, sharpen his jiu-jitsu off his back, improve his endurance, and become comfortable fighting through adversity instead of avoiding it. Jon emphasized that every weakness should become a priority before the next fight. More importantly, he stressed that the mental side of the game is everything. A loss can either break a fighter or transform them into a stronger version of themselves. Jon encouraged Khamzat to embrace the experience, learn from it, and allow this setback to become the foundation for future success. History has shown that some of the greatest fighters returned better after suffering defeat, and Jon believes both Ilya and Khamzat have every opportunity to make incredible comebacks once they fix the small holes in their games and return with renewed confidence and determination. Move on to another news. Concerns are starting to grow around BSD ahead of his highly anticipated fight with Paddy Pimblett, after a recent training photo showed a visible mark on his leg that many fans believe could be a staph infection. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the image quickly sparked discussion throughout the MMA community. Staph infections are unfortunately common in combat sports, but they are also something fighters cannot afford to ignore. If left untreated, the infection can spread rapidly and become much more serious. That is why immediate medical treatment is usually required. The problem is that the medication used to treat staph infections can come with side effects that may affect an athlete's conditioning, energy levels, and overall performance. Because of that, some fighters have even withdrawn from fights rather than compete while feeling less than 100%. Naturally, fans are now wondering whether this situation could have any impact on BSD's preparation for fight night. The online reactions came flooding in. Some fans joked that BSD seems to deal with a staph infection during nearly every training camp, while others expressed genuine concern and hoped the issue clears up before he steps into the Octagon. A few comments even claimed he has managed to win important fights despite dealing with health problems, pointing to previous victories where he reportedly competed while far from his best. Others believe the constant rumors are becoming part of his career and joked about an endless rivalry between BSD and antibacterial soap. Not everyone was worried, though. Several fans dismissed the concerns completely and predicted that BSD would still be ready to perform at a high level. Others remained confident that Paddy Pimblett would take advantage if his opponent was not fully healthy. Meanwhile, newly released training photos showed Paddy looking to be in excellent condition, appearing focused, fit, and fully prepared for the challenge ahead. As fight night gets closer, all eyes will remain on BSD's condition, with fans hoping both fighters enter the cage healthy and ready to deliver the exciting matchup everyone has been waiting for. Move on to another news. Arman is once again making headlines, and this time it has nothing to do with an official UFC fight. Instead, the lightweight contender is drawing attention because of a potential wrestling match against former two-division UFC champion Henry Cejudo at an upcoming RAF event. The matchup has already created plenty of excitement, especially because of the obvious size difference between the two athletes. Despite that, the possibility of seeing two elite wrestlers compete has fans eager to see whether the match can become official. The topic gained even more attention after Henry revealed on a recent podcast that discussions are taking place for the match. His comments immediately caught the attention of Kamaru Usman, who admitted he was surprised by the idea. Usman questioned whether taking on someone as naturally big and physically strong as Arman would be the smartest decision for Henry. He pointed out that Arman has already established himself as one of the best wrestlers currently competing in mixed martial arts and possesses a major size advantage. Arman is already scheduled to compete against Colby Covington at RAF 11 on July 18th, continuing his willingness to test his wrestling skills against high-level competition while waiting for his next UFC appearance. Rather than sitting on the sidelines, Arman has remained active and continues looking for opportunities to sharpen his game against elite opponents. Meanwhile, his MMA future also appears to be taking shape. According to his manager, a rematch with Charles Oliveira is becoming one of the most realistic options available. With Justin Gaethje not expected to return anytime soon, the focus has shifted towards staying active instead of waiting endlessly for the perfect opportunity. The belief is that another high-profile fight keeps Arman in a strong position for another title run. Henry acknowledged that the size difference between himself and Arman is real, but he also made it clear that experience, speed, and technique can sometimes overcome physical disadvantages. He explained that discussions have included the possibility of a catchweight to make the contest more competitive, although nothing has been finalized. Henry remained confident that his wrestling pedigree gives him a legitimate chance despite facing a naturally larger opponent. Usman, however, reminded everyone that many people have underestimated Arman before and ended up being proven wrong. He recalled previous predictions against Arman and emphasized that those who doubt his wrestling ability often change their opinion after watching him compete. With Arman continuing to accept every challenge placed in front of him, his reputation as one of the most complete wrestlers in the sport only continues to grow, regardless of whether the action takes place inside the UFC or on the wrestling. Move on to another news. Fresh discussions surrounding Conor's UFC future have sparked major debate across the MMA world, as fans continue wondering how the former two-division champion will fulfill the final 2 fights on his current UFC contract. During a recent discussion, Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson broke down several possible scenarios, including a long-awaited rematch with Max Holloway and even the possibility of finally completing the legendary trilogy with Nate Diaz. The conversation began with the potential rematch against Max, with both analysts agreeing that stylistically, it makes perfect sense for Conor's return. Max is known for his relentless pace, incredible boxing volume, and durability, making him one of the toughest challenges available. Despite that, they believe it is also the type of matchup that could generate enormous fan interest and become one of the biggest events the UFC could promote. However, the discussion quickly shifted toward what happens if Conor falls short against Holloway. Rather than viewing it as the end of the road, they suggested several backup options that could still deliver blockbuster fights. One name that immediately came up was Michael Chandler. Although Chandler has struggled in recent outings, the rivalry and history between the two fighters would still make the matchup highly marketable. Another possibility discussed was finally settling the score with Nate Diaz in a trilogy fight, giving fans one last unforgettable chapter before Conor eventually walks away from the sport. Big John then offered his own experienced perspective on the Holloway matchup. He acknowledged that Conor continues to train and stay in shape, but stressed that there is a huge difference between working out and consistently competing against the world's best fighters. According to him, Max has remained active ever since the first time he fought Conor, constantly evolving and sharpening every aspect of his game with each appearance inside the Octagon. Meanwhile, Conor has spent long periods away from active competition, making any comeback an incredibly difficult challenge. Big John pointed to the old saying that if a fighter is not fully committed, they are effectively out of the game, because the highest level of mixed martial arts keeps moving forward every single year. He believes Conor will give everything he has when he finally returns, especially during the opening round where his explosive striking remains extremely dangerous. Still, he warned that the biggest test begins after those first 5 minutes. Fighting at 170 pounds against an elite, high-volume striker like Holloway requires outstanding cardio, conditioning, and consistency. In Big John's view, climbing back to championship form after such a long absence will be an enormous challenge, even for a fighter with Conor's legendary talent and knockout power. Move on to another news. Arman has fired some of his strongest comments yet toward Paddy Pimblett, completely dismissing his rise through the lightweight division. The top-ranked contender claimed that Paddy's career has been carefully manufactured from the very beginning, arguing that the UFC consistently matched him against favorable opponents to build his popularity without exposing him to the division's toughest competition. According to Arman, those matchups allowed Paddy to climb the rankings much faster than he deserved. Arman didn't stop there. He made it clear that, in his opinion, Paddy simply does not possess the level needed to compete with the true elite at lightweight. He argued that the top 5 fighters in the division operate on an entirely different level and believes Paddy would struggle against any of them. Arman accused the promotion of giving Paddy opportunities based more on entertainment value than competitive merit, insisting that his popularity and ability to sell fights have played a much bigger role than his performances inside the Octagon. The criticism became even more personal as Arman finished his comments with a harsh insult directed at Paddy, making it obvious there is no respect between the two fighters. His words immediately sparked debate among MMA fans, with many wondering whether the rivalry could eventually lead to a fight inside the UFC. Meanwhile, Justin Gaethje added even more fuel to the conversation by sharing his own opinion about Paddy's abilities. Justin claimed that during their time grappling together, he felt completely in control on the ground. He believes many fans continue to overlook his wrestling and submission skills because of his reputation as an aggressive striker. According to Justin, if he had truly wanted to, he could have submitted Paddy without much difficulty. He explained that people often focus only on his knockout power while ignoring the work he has put into developing every area of his game. Since suffering the submission loss to Charles Oliveira, Justin says he has dedicated himself to making major improvements in his grappling so that the same mistake never happens again. The former interim champion revealed that he has spent countless hours sharpening his defensive wrestling, positional awareness, and submission skills. His goal is to become a more complete mixed martial artist capable of threatening opponents everywhere the fight takes place. Justin believes those improvements will make him an even more dangerous contender moving forward, while Arman's brutal assessment of Paddy has only intensified the growing debate surrounding the lightweight division. With emotions running high and several elite contenders chasing championship opportunities, the competition at 155 pounds continues to become more intense than ever before, setting the stage for even bigger rivalries in the months ahead. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier has shared his thoughts on Ian Garry's mindset ahead of the biggest fight of his career, and the UFC Hall of Famer is not convinced that Garry is approaching the title fight in the right way. As Ian prepares to challenge the reigning welterweight champion, he recently explained that he would actually prefer to defeat the champion in the later rounds instead of scoring an early finish. According to Garry, winning deep into the fight would better prove that he is the superior mixed martial artist because it would leave no room for fans to claim the result was simply a lucky punch or a quick moment. That reasoning immediately caught Daniel Cormier's attention. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Cormier admitted he was genuinely confused by Garry's perspective. In his opinion, a fighter should never enter a championship fight hoping for a specific type of victory when facing one of the greatest competitors in the sport. Instead, the only objective should be to win by any means necessary. Cormier explained that when a challenger steps into the cage against the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, the method of victory becomes completely irrelevant. Whether the fight ends with a devastating first-round knockout, a perfectly executed submission, or a hard-fought decision after 5 rounds, history only remembers one thing: the winner. He encouraged Ian to let go of the idea of trying to script the perfect performance and instead focus entirely on securing the championship. According to Cormier, trying to prove a point by extending the fight creates unnecessary pressure and risk. Every additional minute inside the Octagon against an elite champion presents another opportunity for things to go wrong. Injuries, momentum swings, or a single mistake can completely change the outcome of a fight, making it dangerous to pass up an opportunity for an early finish if it presents itself. Cormier emphasized that becoming a UFC champion is the ultimate goal, and once that belt is around a fighter's waist, nobody spends years debating whether the victory happened in the first round or the 5th. Championships are remembered forever, while the exact path to winning often becomes a small detail over time. For Cormier, the message was simple. If Ian gets the chance to finish the fight early, he should take it without hesitation. If the fight goes the distance and he earns the decision, that is equally valuable. The only thing that truly matters is leaving the Octagon with the title, because in the end, a win is a win, no matter how it happens. Move on to another news. Joe Rogan has openly criticized referee Herb Dean following the controversial stoppage in the fight between Alex Pereira and Cyril Gane. The ending has become one of the most talked about moments in the MMA world, with fans continuing to debate whether the referee handled the situation correctly. During a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe sat down with Justin Gaethje and coach Trevor Whitman to break down exactly what happened during the closing moments of the fight. While reviewing the footage, Rogan pointed out that several strikes appeared to land dangerously close to the back of Pereira's head. He acknowledged that some of the punches connected legally to the side of the head, but also believed that a few shots clearly crossed the line and should have been called illegal. According to Joe, there were likely 3 or 4 strikes that should not have been allowed before the fight was eventually stopped. Despite raising concerns about the illegal blows, Rogan also admitted that Pereira was in serious trouble during the final sequence. He explained that Cyril Gane had built tremendous momentum and landed several damaging shots that left Pereira badly hurt. The discussion then shifted to whether the stoppage itself came at the correct moment or if Pereira should have been given another chance to recover before the referee stepped in. Justin and Trevor also analyzed the replay, noting that the ending appeared to be the result of cumulative damage rather than one single punch. They agreed that Pereira had absorbed a significant amount of punishment, although there was still debate over whether he could have survived a few more strikes before the contest was waved off. Meanwhile, the controversy has continued to spread beyond the fight itself. Many fans online claimed they witnessed a heated exchange between Joe Rogan and Herb Dean shortly after the UFC event ended. According to several eyewitnesses, the two appeared to be engaged in an intense discussion, with many believing the controversial stoppage was the topic of conversation. At the same time, Pereira has reportedly continued pushing for greater accountability regarding the officiating, adding even more pressure to Herb Dean as criticism surrounding the stoppage continues to grow throughout the MMA community.